After 7 grueling years working on offshore rigs and remote engineering projects, I finally came home. The heat of Houston hit me as I stepped out of the airport, but it felt good to be on solid ground again. My muscles ached from long shifts and tight quarters, but I pushed through, determined to see my family. I couldn't count how many days I'd spent imagining this moment, walking into the house, being greeted with hugs and smiles. I'd sacrificed so much, birthdays, holidays, and even my own dreams just to keep them afloat. Nearly $300,000 sent home, every dollar earned with sweat and aching hands. It was worth it, I kept telling myself. They needed me. As I pulled up to the house, I barely recognized it. A fresh coat of paint, new landscaping, and even the driveway had been repaved. I couldn't help but feel a flicker of pride, thinking my hard-earned money had given them a more comfortable life. But the feeling was fleeting. I knocked, and after a few moments the door swung open. Mom stood there, blinking as if she hadn't expected me. "Oh, Nathan, you're early," she muttered, barely looking at me. I forced a smile. "I emailed you the flight details." She gave a tight nod. "Your brother's here. He's talking business with your father." I swallowed back the familiar bitterness. Of course, Adam was here. The golden boy. As I walked into the living room, I found Dad and Adam hunched over a laptop, discussing something animatedly. Neither of them even noticed me. I cleared my throat. "Hey, Dad." "Adam." Adam looked up with a grin. "Oh, hey, Nate. Didn't know you were coming today." Dad barely glanced up. "You're back already?" "Already?" I bit down the sting and forced a neutral tone. "Yeah. It's been a long trip." Adam smirked. "Man, you're still doing that oil rig stuff? Thought you'd find something better by now." "Pays well," I said evenly. "It's how I've been helping out around here." Dad waved a dismissive hand. "Adam's got something better lined up, real money. You could learn a thing or two from him." I felt a lump in my throat. I had missed home for this. I sat quietly, listening as Adam explained his latest venture, a tech startup, supposedly guaranteed to succeed. The more I heard, the more I realized how shaky it sounded, buzzwords strung together with little substance. "Sounds risky," I said cautiously. Adam rolled his eyes. "You wouldn't get it. You've been stuck on rigs for too long. Real business requires vision." I clenched my fists, reminding myself not to take the bait. Later, after Adam left, I finally confronted Dad. "Can we talk about the money I sent?" I asked. Dad looked up, annoyed. "What about it?" "I saw the bank statements," I said, my voice trembling. "A lot of it went to Adam's projects. You said it was for the house repairs, Mom's treatment bills, but I see payments to Adam's accounts." Dad's face darkened. "You've been snooping through our finances?" "I just wanted to know where it all went," I replied, trying to keep calm. Mom entered the room, sensing the tension. Dad scoffed. "You don't get to question us. After all we've done for you, you're accusing us of lying?" I took a deep breath. "I'm not accusing. I just want to understand why I'm sacrificing everything while Adam gets praised for doing nothing." Mom crossed her arms. "Adam has potential. He's building something worthwhile. You wouldn't understand." My heart pounded. "I gave up years of my life to support this family. Does that mean nothing?" Dad stood up, his eyes cold. "I only have one son, and it's not you." My breath caught. Mom's voice echoed from behind me. "You're just being selfish, Nathan. You never appreciated what we did for you. Always making everything harder." Years of sacrifice and effort crumbled around me. I didn't yell or argue. I just pulled out my phone, my hands shaking, and sent a single message. Subject: Evidence of financial fraud. I attached the documents I'd gathered: bank statements, transaction records, messages where Adam bragged about using the money for his startup. I hit send, ensuring it reached my lawyer, Adam's investors, and a local journalist. As their phones started buzzing, Dad's face went pale. Adam burst through the door, phone in hand. "What the hell did you do, Nate?" he snapped. I looked at them, feeling strangely calm. I just showed them the truth. Without another word, I walked out, leaving behind the family who had never seen me as anything more than a tool, a means to support their favored son. As I drove away, I knew there was no turning back. I wasn't just the overlooked son anymore. I was the man who finally stood up for himself. Whatever happened next, I was ready to face it alone. I drove through the night, the city lights blurring past as I tried to process what had just happened. My father, no, the man who used to be my father, had disowned me in a single breath, erasing years of sacrifice like they meant nothing. I pulled over at a rundown motel, too exhausted to keep driving. As I sat on the stiff bed, I kept hearing Dad's voice repeating, "I only have one son, and it's not you." My phone buzzed incessantly, texts, missed calls, voicemails. I didn't have to look to know who it was. Adam, probably furious that his perfect life was about to shatter. I didn't care. I turned the phone off and lay back, trying to calm my racing heart. The next morning, I finally turned the phone on. As expected, dozens of messages awaited. A few from Mom, short, cold, demanding to know why I was trying to ruin Adam's reputation. Most were from Adam, ranging from threats to pleading for me to fix this. One text from Ethan, my best friend since high school, stood out. "Hey man. I heard what happened. You okay? Wanna talk?" I shot back a quick reply. "Need some time. It's a mess." A few hours later, my lawyer called. "Nathan, the evidence you sent, it's pretty damning," he said. "We're looking at potential charges for fraud and misuse of funds, especially if Adam's investors get involved. The journalist you CC'd is already sniffing around. You might want to lay low for a bit." I swallowed hard. I didn't want it to go this far, but I couldn't just let it slide. "You did the right thing," he assured me. "Just be prepared. They'll try to fight back." My thoughts spiraled. Part of me regretted sending that message. I could have just left and started fresh somewhere else. But deep down, I knew that would have meant letting them get away with everything. I had been used for too long. It was time someone saw the truth. By noon, social media had exploded. A few local news sites had picked up the story, focusing on Adam's dubious business practices. I couldn't help but smirk at the headline. "Local entrepreneur exposed, family fraud uncovered." Ethan called again, this time not taking no for an answer. "Dude, where are you?" "Some motel on the edge of town," I replied. "I'm coming over. You shouldn't be alone." When he arrived, Ethan brought coffee and a look of cautious concern. "You really did it," he said, handing me a cup. "I had to," I muttered. "They used me for years, man. Treated me like an ATM while Adam got praised for every little thing." He nodded, sitting on the bed next to me. "You did what you had to do. If they weren't going to appreciate you, at least they can face the consequences." I didn't think it would hurt this much," I admitted, my voice cracking. Ethan put a hand on my shoulder. "It's because you still care. You wanted their love, and they gave you nothing. That's on them, not you." The next morning, I ventured out for some food, keeping my head down. As I walked past the convenience store, I saw the local paper's front page plastered with Adam's face. "Startup star accused of financial fraud, family feud sparks investigation." I didn't bother buying a copy. I knew the story would only get uglier. Back at the motel, Ethan was on his phone, scrolling through comments. "It's blowing up, Nate. Adam's investors are pissed. They're talking about legal action." I sighed, a mix of relief and dread. "It's what needs to happen. He can't keep leeching off others." Ethan looked at me seriously. "And your parents? They'll blame me. They always do. But I'm done carrying that weight." As the day dragged on, my phone buzzed with another unexpected message, from Chloe, my cousin. "Hey, Nate. I heard about everything. Just wanted you to know I support you. They've always treated you unfairly. I'm proud of you for standing up for yourself." Her words gave me a moment of solace. At least not everyone in the family was against me. In the evening, Ethan suggested we get some air, so we walked down the street to a small park. "I know it feels like everything's crashing down," Ethan said as we sat on a worn bench. "But this could be your chance to start over. Without them holding you back." "Maybe," I replied, staring at the fading sunlight. "But it's hard to let go. They were my family." "Family doesn't do what they did to you," he said firmly. "You deserve better." That night, as I lay in the dark, I couldn't help but wonder what would come next. I had cut the last thread tying me to the family that never really saw me. Now all I could do was wait for the fallout to settle and figure out how to rebuild my life, on my own terms. I drifted off to sleep, my phone still buzzing with messages from Adam and Mom. But I didn't care anymore. I had finally taken control, and that was something they couldn't take from me. A few days passed, and I was still holed up in the motel, trying to stay low. I couldn't shake the gnawing feeling in my gut, like I had crossed a line that couldn't be uncrossed. Ethan kept telling me I did the right thing, but doubt crept in like a slow poison. My phone kept buzzing, but I ignored it. The last thing I needed was to hear more about Adam's investors pulling out or local news stations replaying the story. Every time I caught a glimpse of the TV in the motel lobby, it seemed like they were dissecting my family's downfall. I couldn't stomach it. One afternoon, Ethan knocked on my door, balancing a takeout bag and 2 sodas. "Thought you might be starving," he said with a grin. I forced a smile. "You're not wrong." As we ate, he filled me in on the latest. Adam's business is tanking. Most of his investors have pulled out, and some are considering lawsuits. Your parents, well, they haven't made any public statements, but people are definitely talking. I swallowed a mouthful of food that suddenly tasted like sawdust. It wasn't supposed to be like this. I just wanted the truth out, not to destroy them. Ethan put his hand on my shoulder. "You didn't destroy anything. They did, by lying, by taking advantage of you. You just pulled back the curtain." Later that evening, I dared to check my phone. One text caught my attention, from my cousin Chloe. "Hey Nate. I know things are rough. Just wanted you to know, I'm on your side. I always knew they treated you unfairly. Don't blame yourself for exposing it. Love you." Her words brought a sense of comfort I hadn't felt in days. At least someone in the family understood. That night, as I scrolled through the news articles, I saw the backlash brewing. Some people sympathized with me, calling me brave for exposing the truth. But others called me selfish, an ungrateful son who ruined his family for money. One comment hit particularly hard. "No wonder his parents disowned him. Who betrays their own blood like that?" I stared at the screen, my chest tightening. Did I betray them? Had I been too harsh? Ethan noticed my somber mood. "Stop reading that trash," he said firmly. "It's hard not to," I admitted. "It's like I just wanted them to see me, you know. Not just as the one who sends money. But now I feel like I ruined everything." He shook his head. "You didn't ruin anything. They did that the moment they chose Adam over you, over and over again. You just refused to keep being their doormat." I nodded, trying to let his words sink in. The next morning, I woke up to a voicemail from my lawyer. "Nathan, just a heads up, Adam's team is pushing back. They're claiming you falsified the evidence. I'll handle it, but be prepared for them to smear your name." I closed my eyes, fighting the surge of frustration. Of course Adam would try to spin it. He couldn't just own up to his mistakes. He had to make me the villain. A few hours later, I got a call from Chloe. "Hey, can we meet up?" she asked, her voice soft. "Sure. Where?" "Coffee shop on 4th. I'll be there in 20. When I arrived, Chloe was already waiting, nervously stirring her iced latte. "Hey," I greeted, sitting across from her. She gave me a small smile. "You look like crap." "Thanks. Just what I needed to hear." She softened. "I didn't mean it like that. I can't believe how bad this got." I sighed. "I didn't expect it to blow up like this. I just wanted them to see the truth." Chloe looked around before lowering her voice. "You did the right thing. Adam's been using people for years, mostly you. They never saw it because they didn't want to." I looked down at my coffee. "I didn't want to hurt them. I just couldn't keep being the one who always gave and never got anything in return." She reached across the table, squeezing my hand. "You're stronger than you think. It's just going to take time for them to see it. Or maybe they never will. Either way, you deserve better." After leaving the coffee shop, I took a walk through the nearby park, trying to clear my head. My phone buzzed again, a call from Dad. My hands shook as I stared at the screen. I didn't have the strength to answer. That evening, Ethan dropped by again. "Bad news, Matt," he said, pulling up a news clip on his phone. The screen showed Adam standing outside his office, surrounded by reporters. I never took advantage of my brother, Adam claimed, his voice steady. He's been distant for years. I think he just wanted to punish me because of some old jealousy. It's sad, really. My hands clenched into fists. Ethan glared at the screen. What a liar! He's spinning it like you're the bitter, jealous brother. I took a deep breath, forcing myself to think rationally. It doesn't matter what he says. The truth is out there. His investors have the proof. Let him lie. It'll just make him look worse in the end. Ethan gave a short nod. You're right. Just don't let his words mess with your head. Easier said than done. That night, as I tried to sleep, I couldn't stop thinking about my family. I'd spent so many years trying to prove myself, hoping they'd finally see me as more than just the backup son. Now, it felt like I'd lost everything just by standing up for myself. But as I drifted off, Ethan's words kept replaying in my mind. Maybe I hadn't destroyed my family. Maybe I just stopped letting them destroy me. The days that followed felt like a blur. I kept seeing Adam's smug face on local news clips, weaving his version of the story, how I was just bitter and jealous, how I couldn't handle his success. It was infuriating, but I couldn't change how people saw it. Ethan did his best to keep me distracted, taking me out to the park or bringing over movies to the motel. But I could tell he was worried. I wasn't eating much, barely sleeping, and every time my phone buzzed I jumped. One evening, Chloe called me again. Nate, you need to stop torturing yourself, she said bluntly. I sighed. It's just, I thought telling the truth would set things right. But now, it feels like I'm the one who destroyed everything. She huffed. They destroyed it when they decided your sacrifices didn't matter. You just pulled the curtain back. I don't know how to make them understand, I whispered. Maybe they never will, she replied gently. You can't force people to see the truth when they've spent years lying to themselves. Her words hit me harder than I expected. Maybe I'd been so focused on being accepted that I hadn't realized some people never wanted to change their minds. That night, as I sat on the motel bed staring at the cracked ceiling, Ethan plopped down next to me with a folder. What's this? I asked. He grinned. Options. You've got skills, man. Engineering, logistics. You don't have to be stuck out on rigs forever. Let's find you something better. I flipped through the pages. Job listings, apprenticeships, even some small business ideas. You did all this? I asked, touched. Yeah. You've been carrying your family for so long, you forgot how to take care of yourself. It's time to build something just for you. For the first time in days, I felt a flicker of hope. The next morning, I went for a walk alone, letting the cool breeze clear my head. I passed by a community center where people were setting up a charity event. One of the organizers, an older woman with a kind smile, waved me over. Could you give us a hand with this banner? She asked. I nodded and helped her tie it up. Thanks, young man. You new around here? I hesitated. Just passing through. Figuring things out. She nodded knowingly. Sometimes it's good to stop running and just be still for a while. You'd be surprised what you find. Her words lingered as I walked back to the motel. Maybe that was my problem. I'd been running for years, chasing approval that would never come. Maybe it was time to stop and figure out who I wanted to be, not just who I thought my family needed. When I got back, Ethan was on his phone, his face serious. Bad news? I asked. He shook his head. More like karma. Adam's startup officially went under. Investors are suing for fraud. Your parents, well, they're not talking to anyone. Looks like they've holed up at home. I sat down, processing the news. I didn't want this, I murmured. Ethan looked at me firmly. You didn't do this. Adam did, by lying and stealing. Your parents chose to back him up without questioning anything. That's not on you. I knew he was right, but the guilt still gnawed at me. No matter how much I tried to rationalize it, part of me still felt like the bad guy. Chloe called again that night, her voice calmer than before. Adam's blaming you for everything, she said quietly. He told Mom and Dad that you tricked him, said you hacked his accounts to make it look like he took the money. I couldn't help but laugh bitterly. Of course he would, she sighed. They want to believe him. It's easier than admitting they were wrong about him all along. Let them, I replied, surprising myself with the firmness in my tone. I'm done trying to change their minds. Chloe was silent for a moment. You sound different. More sure of yourself. Maybe I'm just tired of living for other people, I admitted. Good. You deserve to live for yourself. The next day, I took Ethan's advice and started sending out job applications. A few positions seemed promising. Project management roles that used my skills without requiring me to be offshore for months at a time. I didn't know if I'd get any of them, but it was a start. A week later, I got a call from one of the companies, a local engineering firm. They were impressed by my experience and wanted to meet. I could hardly believe it. Ethan whooped when I told him. Dude, that's awesome! See? You're moving forward. I grinned, feeling lighter than I had in weeks. That night, as I lay in bed, I finally felt a sense of closure. My family might never accept me or admit they were wrong, but I didn't need their approval anymore. I had spent too long trying to fit into their mold, ignoring my own happiness. Now, I was finally choosing myself. And it felt good. A few days after sending out applications, I finally got an email back from the engineering firm. They wanted to schedule an interview. My heart pounded as I read the message, excitement mixed with nerves. I hadn't gone on a proper job interview in years, not since I first started offshore work. I called Ethan as soon as I could. They want to interview me, I blurted out before he could even say hello. He let out a triumphant laugh. Told you! They'd be idiots not to give you a shot. I bit my lip. But what if they've seen the news? The stuff about my family? Ethan didn't hesitate. Then you explain the truth. You've got nothing to hide. Besides, your experience speaks for itself. Chloe texted me soon after. You'll do great. Just be honest and let them see the hard-working guy I know. Her words calmed my nerves a bit. I knew I couldn't let fear stop me from moving forward. The morning of the interview, I dressed in the one suit I still had, though it was a little tight from years of disuse. Ethan drove me to the office, giving me a pep talk the entire way. Just be yourself, he said. They'll see how capable you are. I nodded, trying to convince myself he was right. The interview itself felt like a blur. The manager, a woman named Lisa, seemed genuinely interested in my experience, especially the logistics work I'd done on offshore rigs. Dealing with complex operations under pressure is a valuable skill, she noted. I explained how I'd managed projects, coordinated supply chains, and adapted to unpredictable situations. I didn't mention my family or the scandal. There was no need. I wanted them to see me for who I was, not as part of some messy public drama. After the interview, as I waited for Ethan to pick me up, I couldn't help but feel a glimmer of hope. I had been so focused on the past, on my family's betrayal and Adam's lies, that I forgot I still had a future to build. Back at the motel, I found Ethan scrolling through his phone, eyebrows raised. Dude, you might want to see this, he said, handing me the screen. It was a news update. Adam had made another public statement, this time claiming that I had ruined his life out of spite. He accused me of forging documents and trying to frame him just because I was jealous of his success. My jaw tightened. Unbelievable. Ethan shook his head. He's desperate. His investors have pulled out, and his business is basically dead. He's just trying to pin the blame on you because he can't face his own failure. I took a deep breath. I'm not engaging. Let him talk. People will believe what they want. Ethan looked impressed. You're actually letting it go? Yeah, I said slowly. I spent too long fighting for their approval. I'm done with that. Later that evening, I got a message from Chloe. Mom and Dad are still siding with Adam, but I overheard Dad saying he's starting to doubt the story. I think the fallout is finally getting to them. I wasn't sure how to feel. Part of me wanted them to see the truth, but another part was just tired. Tired of being the one who always had to prove himself. I replied. Let them think what they want. I'm moving on. Her response came quickly. Proud of you. You deserve better. The next morning, I woke to an email notification. Heart pounding, I opened it, and a wide smile broke across my face. Congratulations. We'd like to offer you the project manager position. Looking forward to having you on the team. I couldn't believe it. After everything, A new beginning was finally within reach. I immediately called Ethan, barely able to contain my excitement. "They hired me!" he whooped on the other end. "Yes. I knew you'd get it." His enthusiasm was contagious. For the first time in a long while, I felt like I had a purpose again, one that didn't revolve around carrying someone else's burdens. To celebrate, Ethan and I went out for dinner. As we sat in the small diner, talking about plans for the future, I felt a weight lift off my shoulders. I had been so wrapped up in my family's drama that I'd forgotten what it felt like to be hopeful. Ethan raised his soda. "To new beginnings. To not looking back," I replied, clinking my glass against his. That night, as I lay in bed, I thought about everything that had happened. The betrayal, the lies, the feeling of being cast out by the people I had given everything for. I wasn't sure if my parents would ever see the truth, but it didn't matter as much anymore. I was building a life where I didn't have to depend on their acceptance. I pulled out my phone and scrolled through messages. One from Chloe stood out. "No matter what they think, I know you did the right thing. And I'm proud to call you my cousin." For once, I let myself believe it. As I drifted off to sleep, I felt something I hadn't felt in years: peace. I didn't need their validation anymore. I had my own path now, and I wasn't going to waste any more time looking back. A week into my new job, I found myself waking up with a sense of excitement I hadn't felt in years. I'd almost forgotten what it was like to look forward to something. The work was challenging but rewarding, coordinating project timelines, problem-solving on the go, and managing a small but dedicated team. I wasn't just another cog in a machine. My input mattered. One morning, as I was going through some blueprints, Ethan dropped by my new apartment. "Wow," he said, looking around. "You actually unpacked. I'm impressed." I chuckled. "Yeah. Figured it was time to settle in for real." He handed me a box. "Housewarming gift." Inside was a framed picture of us from high school, both of us grinning, sweaty from a pickup game of basketball. "Thought you might want a reminder that you've always been resilient," Ethan said with a grin. I smiled, putting it on the shelf. "Thanks. I could use that reminder sometimes." Just as Ethan was about to leave, my phone buzzed. A message from Chloe. "Adam finally admitted it. He told Dad he lied about you faking the evidence. Mom's still in denial, but Dad, he looked broken." My hands trembled as I showed Ethan the text. "He actually admitted it?" Ethan asked, stunned. "Seems like it," I replied, trying to process the flood of emotions. Relief, anger, sadness, they all collided at once. Ethan nodded. Yes, the truth finally caught up to him. Later that evening, I got a call from Dad. I hesitated before answering, bracing myself. His voice sounded different, hollow, almost tired. "Nathan, I owe you an apology," he began. I didn't respond, just listened. I didn't want to believe it. "Adam, he's always been the golden child. I thought you were just bitter. I didn't see how hard you worked. I didn't see you at all." His words hung heavy in the air. I swallowed the lump in my throat. "You chose to believe his lies," I said quietly. "I was always the backup son. The reliable one who never complained." Dad sighed. "I was wrong. Your mom, she's still convinced Adam wouldn't lie, but I know better now." For the first time, I didn't feel the urge to chase his approval. "I'm done being the one who always sacrifices, Dad. I'm building my own life now." He sounded like he wanted to say more, but I didn't wait. I hung up, realizing that I didn't need his validation anymore. That weekend, I decided to visit Chloe. We sat on her porch, drinking lemonade as the sun dipped below the horizon. "I heard from Dad," I said, finally breaking the silence. She raised an eyebrow. "Did he apologize?" I nodded. "Sort of. He admitted that Adam lied. But Mom's still stuck in denial." Chloe sighed. "She's always been that way. Clinging to the image she wants, no matter how much it hurts the people around her." "I'm not angry anymore," I admitted. "Just tired." She squeezed my hand. "You don't have to keep fighting. You've already proven yourself." On Monday, back at work, I found a rhythm that felt natural. My supervisor, Lisa, dropped by my desk smiling. "You're settling in well," she said. I really appreciate the opportunity, I replied honestly. She leaned against the divider. You know, I read about that family drama. At first, I wasn't sure what to make of it, but seeing how dedicated you are here, I can tell you're not the type to stir trouble. Just know that your work speaks for itself. Her words lifted a weight I didn't realize I was still carrying. Thank you, I said, genuinely moved. After work, Ethan and I grabbed dinner. You look different, he noted. I raised an eyebrow. In a good way, I hope. He smirked. Definitely. You're not carrying the world on your shoulders anymore. I took a deep breath, realizing he was right. The constant pressure to prove myself, to be the good son, had shaped my whole life. Now, without that weight, I felt free. Feels weird, I admitted. Ethan grinned. Weird's good. You've earned it. That night, as I sat on my balcony, looking out at the city lights, I thought about everything that had happened. My parents might never fully understand the hurt they caused. Adam would probably never admit just how much damage he'd done. But I couldn't control that. I could only choose how to move forward. And I was finally moving forward. A message popped up from Chloe. Proud of you. Dad's still processing everything. Mom's not talking to anyone. But you did the right thing. You deserve happiness, Nate. I smiled, typing back. Thanks for being in my corner. I won't forget it. As the night settled in, I felt something I hadn't in years, a sense of contentment. I wasn't just surviving anymore. I was living. I was building a life where I didn't have to sacrifice myself to feel worthy. A life where I didn't need their acceptance to know my own value. With a deep breath, I let the past go. I didn't need to be the perfect son anymore. I just needed to be me.